Let's start with the flows and let's begin with a, let's say, small introduction. First of all, go to your setup, type in flow, and here you have the button to create a new one. And you will see the screen appear. And you see here you have a screen flow and you have a few others. And basically you can differentiate between screen flow, so a flow where your users interact with, or auto launch flows, all the others which run more or less in the background. Once you click here on all in templates, you see there are also a few others. You have here, for example, the omni-channel flow, which is very useful and helpful in the Service Cloud. And we will now focus in this course on this, let's say, big ones, and for, let's say, explaining all, let's say, the tools you have in the flows, we will start with the screen flow. So now we have here our screen flow, and first of all, you see here you have different layouts. You have here either the outer layout. Here you can choose elements. Let me choose here one screen element. For example, we will come to elements in a second, and you see everything goes automatically straight forward. You can also choose here the freeform, and then you can move your elements here around and connect them however you want. As I said, we will come to the elements. You have basically three categories. You have this interaction, the logic, and the data. So the interaction here in the screen, for example, you have users that can type in, or you can display information to users. You can also trigger other actions and subflows. From the logic, you have the assignment, you have the decision, we have this loop in a separate video, you have a collection, sort, and filter. We will use the assignment here. In this example, a decision is basically an if-else, like you use it, for example, in validation rules or just in a simple Excel file. And then, of course, you have the data, if you can create records, update records, delete records, and also you have this get records component, which makes data out of the system, first of all, available to use in a flow. We will cover this in a few sections during this course. So at this stage, remember you have here elements, and what's important here, let me go back to my auto layout. Let me also get rid of this demo screen once again. And we open this toolbox, we have here the resources. And the resources are, let's say, the most confusing thing about this flows once you're used to workflows or also the process builder. You need this quite often to store data in it, to use it once again during the flow. And once we click on resources, you see here you have variables, constants, formulas, text templates, choice, collection choice set, record choice set, pick list choice sets, and stage. We will now go through it on a small example and create a small screen flow and see how we can use here variables, record choice sets, pick list choice sets, and so on. So let's go to our homepage, and you see I have here a screen flow which is called record type. This screen flow should allow our users to create here leads just from the homepage. And first of all, I have two different record types. I have the direct and the partner leads. And here I have also the number of leads created. So I have here a record count to show how many leads the user created already. Once I click on next, I can type in now first name, last name, of course. Okay, and now you see I've created here a lead and my count went up to 1. Now, once I go to leads, See here, that's our demo lead we just created. And now let's have a look how we can do this in a flow directly and start here, first of all, with the screen. And here, let's call this one select. And we need a pick list to choose our record type. And you see here, I have this pick list label. I will say these are my available record types. And now I have here the component type. You can see I can choose between radio buttons and pick list. And now I have to, let's say, create first of all our pick list values. So the two pick list values for our record types, so the direct and the lead and the partner record type. And therefore I need to create one of these new resources. To be honest, I've chosen a special example here because usually you create here a pick list choice set, but we want to differentiate between record types, and therefore we need a record choice set and call this just record types. And here the object is in this case record type. And what's important now, you have to search for a field here which is called as object type. And here you can choose now which object you have the record types, and in my case that's the lead. And here you have the label of the choice set, and in our case we want to have here the name, but the choice value needs to be the record type ID. That's very important. So let me click on done here, choose the record types, and let me also add here another display text component which we need for our record count. Just call this one count here, and we set how many leads are created already. And here we need another resource in our case, and that's a variable, just a number. We do not have any decimal places, and we have a default value of 0, which is just here this record count. And we will say after our lead is created, we will add the value to it so that we can then sum up how many leads we already created. So now let's click on done here, and let's save this flow as flow intro. And now we can run it. And you see so far we can now choose our available record types. It's direct and the partner leads. And in the next step, we need another screen, and here we want our users to put in the name, we also want to put in here the email, we need a text block for the company, And we said we want also to have the status. And here we will choose the pick list. And as you know it before, let's call this pick list status. We need to create here once again a new choice resource. And here we can now use the pick list choice set because we want just to have the lead status pick list, and here we choose the object lead, and the data type is pick list, and the field is the status. Now we can click on done once again, save it, and run it. And here we can now choose our record type. Here we can put in our first name, last name, email, company, and here the status. And here you see now we've got a problem. We have this pick list, but in this pick list there are pick list values from both record types. And we of course want, once we select the record type, we want only to have the pick list values available which are related to this record type. And in this case, let's go back. We have to work with another variable and assign, first of all, this variable or what we've selected here to this variable. So we need an assignment and call this chosen record type. And as I said, we need a new variable. This is a record variable. From the object lead. And we call this here assign record type. And here, once we have this assigned record type, we go to the lead and search for the record type. And now this record type equals the same record type we selected in our pick list from this available record type. To be honest, this only works. Okay, let me save it. This only works if you have chosen here the component type as pick list. If you do this with radio buttons, it won't work. So what we have done so far is we select a record type, we assign this record type to a variable, but on the screen component we have still this pick list, so the overall pick list with all pick list values which are available for both record types. So let's delete this one here, and here on this component sections we go on the next tab, and that's fields, and here we have record variables, and that's the record variable, this assigned record type we just created, and here we have the status. And now let's click on finish, click on done. We can save it once again. Sorry, let's go back here once to our variable. What I forgot here is we only want to create one record and want to assign one record type to it. So that's the reason why I do not check this allow multiple values, because one record, so this can only have one record type. Okay, now let's run this once again. Let's choose here now the partner leads, for example. And what you see here now at the lead status itself, I only have this pick list values which are also related to this record type. Okay, and what I said, in the next steps we want to create a lead, and here we want to say create lead, and we want only to create one record, and here use separate resources because we want this new created lead fields, we want put there in what we already have done during the flow. So we start here with the name, so we have first name, last name, email, company, and also the status. So here we will put here in the name, mail, and also the company from our screen components. So we have here first name, last name, here we got the email, just need the value here, and we have the text company. And from the status we will choose here the status out of our variable. Click on done. And what I said at the beginning, what we still have here, our record count variable, and we want every time a record is created, we want that this moves up. So what we have to do here is we have to create once again a new assignment and just call this +1. And here, let's search for our record count variable, and here the operator in this case is not an equals, because we want to add the value of 1 to it. And now click on done. Let me go back here. You see we added here just a number. And as I said, this video is all about the resources. You can also create here a constant with a number of 1 to it and just also add the constant. So let's say you have to add for some reason a scoring of 10 points or in such a flow, then you can just create a constant which is then points 5, 10, 20, and you can use it throughout the flow and do not have to put in the numbers all the time. Same here, if you have any text block you have to show on various elements, you can create also then a text template which you can use here. There is one more thing I need to do, because I can leave this as it is, but then the screen starts and ends, and the next time he starts and ends. But what I want to do is I want to connect this back to the first element just for one reason, and that's the counting here. If it starts, let's say, from scratch again, then your count will always be 0. If it goes in a loop here, then you will always add +1, +1, +1 with every lead you create. So let me save it once again and also activate it. Now let's go back to our home page and edit this page and replace this flow with the flow we just created. So it's our flow intro, and save it. And now let's go back and check. So let's create here a partner lead. Name this partner lead. and the lead status is in this case submitted. Now click on next, and you see the flow was running once, and now our leads created moved from 0 to 1. Let's check our leads here once again, and you see our partner lead got created. And once we go back to our flow, now you see on the left side all these resources. We have here our pick list choice set, so the one we couldn't need at the end. We have this one variable to store the information in. We have the choice set for the record types at the beginning. We have all our screen components. We have these variables. And here, that's all our elements. We have 2 assignments, 1 create record element, and 2 screens to it. Don't worry, during this course, we will, of course, have a deeper look at the different versions of flows, the elements, different elements, and also other components. Thanks for your attention so far, and have fun with the rest of this course.